Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is all about The Ordinary's Coverage Foundation. I recently did a video on The Ordinary's Serum Foundation and I liked it. I liked it a lot. So I was interested in the Coverage Foundation and I had ordered both at the same time so that I could kind of do a comparison and just a general sort of review on it. So if you're interested in finding out my thoughts on this, then just keep on watching. So if you watched my last haul video, I talk about how I tried to do a video on this coverage foundation last week, and it happened to coincide with like the worst day I had had in a very long time. So I actually didn't make it throughout the entire day wearing the foundation, and I really like to give you guys like, you know, check-ins and like a wear test throughout an entire day. So I sort of scrapped all that footage and thought I would start anew. So again, this is the Ordinary Coverage Foundation. I previously did a video on their Serum Foundation, which is a thinner consistency. So the Coverage Foundation is their high coverage foundation formula. I have it in the color 2.0N, which is the same color that I have in the Serum Foundation. Now, my first observation between the two of these is that the high coverage foundation the Coverage Foundation formula is a bit darker than the Serum Foundation. I don't know if you can tell, and I'm going to try and do sort of like a close-up photo of these two next to one another. I've squeezed them out and you can't really tell until you apply it, but I'll try and get some close-up pictures of the bottles because you can kind of see it in the bottle. It's also warmer. The 2.0N in the Serum Foundation is definitely a little bit more neutral. I still think it leans on the warm side, but the 2.0N in the Coverage Foundation is much warmer. So if you're kind of bordering on this shade and maybe thinking it's too dark, it very well may be a little bit too dark. We will definitely get into that when you see my demo of me putting it on. You kind of see like the difference between my face and my neck. So this is your standard 1 fluid ounce. It's $6.90 on the Deciem website. I think they're still having production issues, so I think it's going to take a long while for you to get this if you do order it off of their website. As I understand it, I don't know if this is just a rumor or if there's any truth to it, but I think they've run out of these pumps. And so they have plenty of the foundation, but they don't have the proper packaging. So I think they're waiting for the pumps to come in so they can package them up and ship them out to you. I don't want to give you too many of my thoughts just yet. I'm going to save that till the very end. But I do want to mention that when I put this on last week, granted I was having a pretty bad day, but I didn't like the way the foundation wore too much. I didn't put any primer on, so I decided to kind of switch that up and kind of, you know, learn from my mistakes. So I use a primer, which you'll see in the demo. So I'm going to do some check-ins after the demo, and I'll be back at the end of the day to give you final. All right, so I've washed and moisturized my face, and as I mentioned in the intro, this is the second time I'm going to be doing this. So I did not use primer the first time I tried this foundation. I didn't really like the way it turned out, so I'm going to try primer this time. I'm going to use the Marc Jacobs Coconut Primer, just shaking it up a little. The perfect day for me to be trying out a full coverage foundation because I had the most major blemish right there, and it actually kills. It feels like someone punched me in the face right there. And I'm gonna shake up this, actually I grabbed the wrong one. This is the Serum Foundation. I'm gonna shake it up. It actually doesn't say that I need to shake it, unlike the Serum Foundation, where I think it was crucial, but I think it's good to shake it up anyway. And I'm gonna put it on my Makeup Forever palette. I'm just gonna squeeze out 2 pumps, and I'm gonna use my L'Oreal Beauty Blender, which I really like. And yeah, I also learned this from my first application, that I tried a beauty blender on one side and a brush on the other. And the brush, I think because this foundation doesn't feel like it completely sets, the brush strokes were very, very visible. It was like I couldn't, you know, manage to buff it in. It just kind of kept moving around. So anyway, I liked the sponge with this foundation a lot more. So I don't actually find the coverage of this foundation to actually be that much more than the Serum Foundation, which was a little disappointing. The coverage on the Serum Foundation, however, was very surprising. So that was a pleasant surprise, and this is sort of disappointing. So it's all about setting expectations, isn't it? When you call this a coverage foundation, I would think that it's going to be a lot more, but it really It really isn't, and it's really hard to tell on camera, but here's the serum and here's the coverage. I don't know, can you tell? It's like warmer and a touch darker than the serum. Like the serum was just a borderline a little bit too tan, like it was okay because I've been getting a little bit of color because of the summer. And this coverage foundation I think is too dark. You can see that there, so I'm definitely gonna have to bring it down. So here's the foundation up close. It also, just like the serum foundation, it has a very, very dewy finish. Again, I don't know that I would recommend this for anyone with oily skin. I have fairly dry skin and this worries me, but I'm definitely gonna set it down with powder. And as you can see, with one layer, the coverage is, I want to say, medium. I can't say that this is a very full coverage foundation, which is very, very surprising. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a second layer and see if we can build this up. So I'm going to add a bit more, just one more pump, and I'm going to dip my beauty blender in and apply some more. I have some redness around my nose, which is sort of what I use to tell, you know, how high of a coverage a foundation is. Obviously, the less I see of that red, the higher the coverage. Well, I think it's definitely buildable. I think I got some high coverage going on now, so the redness like right around my nose, that is definitely pretty much gone. Nothing will get rid of that zit. But again, it's still incredibly dewy and it doesn't feel like it ever really sets down. But it is buildable. I'm not sure that I would go more than 2 layers. I just feel like it would get kind of, I don't know, wetter and wetter, like messier and messier. But 2 layers I feel like definitely gets you to like a high coverage. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of my makeup and I will be right back. So I'm back, I put on the rest of my makeup and I am a little bit concerned with this foundation, the same concerns I had with when I first tried it. Which is it really makes my under eyes and some of my sort of problem areas really look kind of dry and aged, a little bit crepey. So I don't know, I was hoping the whole priming thing would help with that, but I don't think it really has. But I will say that the 2 layers of the foundation really did give me a high coverage. When I got a closer look and was doing the rest of my makeup, I could really see like that it really evened out my tone all over my face. So that is, so that's good because I was really worried that, you know, if it had the same kind of coverage as a serum foundation, then what was really the point? But I do think that this foundation is definitely more drying, but it does leave the skin looking very, very dewy. So I don't know whose skin this would actually work for, but I will wear it all day and I will give it a fair shot. If it doesn't get any worse than this, then I'll be happy with it. But I suspect that my under eyes are going to start to look pretty crappy soon. So I'm going to zoom you in. So here are those like lines that are really being accentuated. A lot of my foundations don't really do that. And I saw that when I wore it the first time. So I didn't put any concealer on, so this is just the foundation. I was worried if I added concealer on top of this, it would really be disastrous. So I just left this as the foundation, and yeah, it's not looking great there, and it really is kind of sinking into my laugh lines a bit. So I am actually going to be out and about all day. I will try and do a check-in, but I'm going to be on the Strip, and it can get really loud and hectic and kind of crazy, but I'll bring my camera along, try and find a quiet spot, and hopefully I will see you soon. Hey guys, I am here doing a check-in. It is about 2:15 in the afternoon, and I've had this makeup on since about 9 o'clock this morning, I believe. So it has been, what is that, like a little over 5 hours, and it looks pretty much the same as when I put it on this morning, which is amazing. My humongous blemish on my lip is I think a little bit more visible. So it's probably worn off from here. I've been blowing my nose a little bit. I had some spicy food for brunch, so my nose was running a little bit, but here's some close-up shots. And I feel like the makeup has really held up pretty well. Like the kind of like crepiness that I was talking about when I first put this on, it hasn't gotten worse. I mean, it's not better, but it hasn't gotten worse. And the laugh lines here, situation is pretty much the same. I don't see much deterioration around the forehead, so I am pretty happy with this so far, the performance of it. It feels like a little bit more drying than the serum foundation. I guess that's to be expected if this one is the covered foundation versus the serum foundation. But yeah, I think that's probably, if I had to complain about something, it would be that it feels a little bit drying on the skin. So anyway, like I said, it's 2:15 now. I will probably come back on at about 5. I will have had it on for about 8 hours at that point. So I will see you then. Hey guys, I am here for my final check-in and to give you my final thoughts on this foundation. I thought I would kind of start with you zoomed in. I'm facing a window with just natural lighting. I have no artificial lighting up. While I don't think that this foundation has sunk into my under eye lines any more than it did upon initial application, I do feel like it has accentuated my laugh lines a little bit more. Let me change the exposure. I don't know if you can see that a little bit better, but yeah, it is definitely kind of, I don't know, these are very pronounced to me, and also my expression lines on my forehead. Those are very, very pronounced at the moment, more so than they were when I first applied this foundation this morning. So let me zoom you out and give you my final thoughts. All right, guys, so all in all, I think this foundation is okay, and mainly because it's $6.90. I think at that price point, this is definitely very, very decent. My main issue with this foundation is, in comparison to its serum foundation, I don't think it has that much more coverage. I think, unfortunately, I think this is probably only good for like normal skin. I think if you're oily, this may be a little bit too dewy. So when I first put it on, it was very, very dewy, as you guys saw. It was just as dewy as the serum foundation. But now that, you know, I've set it down with powder and I've had it on the skin for a while, it definitely feels dry. So I don't feel like it's great for dry skin, which is what I have. I don't feel like it's great for dry skin either. So I feel like it only really will probably work well for normal skin. I'm not really sure, since I don't have normal skin. I only have the skin that I have, which is dry. That was stupid. So the price point is good, the coverage is decent and it's buildable, and I think that, you know, I've had this on for 8 hours now. It's about 5 o'clock. I don't think I mentioned that. It's about 5 o'clock now. I've had this on for 8 hours, and the coverage is still on point. It's still there. I don't see it breaking up at all, but I do see that it's accentuating my laugh lines, the expression lines on my forehead, and it made my under eyes look a little bit crepey. So if you have skin similar to mine, which is fairly dry, fairly sensitive, kind of bordering on mature skin, I would definitely recommend this serum foundation over this coverage foundation. So those are basically all of my thoughts. It's definitely not a foundation that I'm going to repurchase, but it's not bad. For $6.90, it really is not bad at all. So that's it for this video. I hope you found that helpful. Please let me know down in the comments below if you tried this foundation, what your thoughts are. If you've had that shade issue, I don't know if anyone out there has bought both in the same shade. So yeah, so I'll see you in my next video. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Please subscribe below if you haven't already, and I'll see you soon.